Well, it's called a natural lead-in. You heard the commercial for John Curtis Christian School in River Ridge just a moment ago.
Good timing. Good timing.
Is. We're greatly appreciative of that school, its ministry,
Amen.
Their support of this faith-based show, and things that we do and what they do to educate young men and women and produce Christ-like people in this community for so many years. Of course, when football season comes around, it's always fun to pay attention to John Curtis Christian. 26 state championships, 27 on the field, second winningest coach in the history of the United States on the prep level. Joining us now, and a spry young man.
Yes, he is.
He's laughing about that, I'm sure. J.T. Curtis with us now. Coach, great to have you with us. How are you?
Well, it's good to be with you. I enjoyed your last segment, listening to Kurt. He was not only a great player, but, I think he's one of the purists that I think we miss sometimes in pro sports today.
Right.
He's just a guy that loved the game, and as he said, loves playing it and loves watching it and loves being a part of it. So it was really nice to hear him and hear a lot of his anecdotes about his playing time.
Well, I know you love baseball, and you coached your school of 5 state championships when you were the head coach there, and you're in the dugout for all the games now. You love the sport. Everybody associates you with football, but you love baseball.
Oh, I really did. Baseball is so different. First of all, you play so much. You get an opportunity to play 2 or 3 times a week, or you get a chance to play a weekend series at a tournament, and the weather's great 90% of the time. You get into that middle May and it gets hot, but for the most part, it's really pleasant, and it's a great sport, and it's an individualized sport with the guy that's on the mound, but it's a team sport because everybody has to do their part in order for the guy on the mound to have a chance to win when things don't go well. So I really enjoyed coaching baseball. It just got to the point that with my schedule and other responsibilities, and Johnny and Jeff both have taken over and done a great job, and I still get to go in the dugout and second guess them, but they don't listen to a word I say. So I've learned just to get through it.
Michael?
And you love it, don't you?
Yeah, no question.
Yeah. Hey, look, you had to raise your own athletic staff there. Somebody asked me one day, so what's your advice about church stuff? I said, well, don't work for the family. And they looked at me, and then they started laughing. I said, and then I did too. Hey, it's good to hear you. How have you been doing with all this crazy time we're walking through? We need sports, though.
Well, you know what? It has been. I guess if you live long enough, you're going to have an experience that you've never had before, and you're going to have to adjust yourself and adjust to what's going on in life and move forward. I think one of the biggest things that I've taken away from this is that we have to be smart about what we do, but we don't have to live our life in fear.
Exactly.
God's in control of all of this, and we're going to get through this just like we've gotten through other problems. We just need to continue to trust the Lord and recognize that He's given us good common sense and intelligent people that can get us through this. But I'm just not going to live in fear. I'm going to try to do wise things, but we've gone about our life, and as time has passed, try to do the same to other people to help them overcome some of the fears that maybe they had, because that's a miserable way to have to live, Michael.
Sure is. I've been really talking to people about the. I think you're so right. Church people a lot of time have gotten a bad reputation. I have faith, so I'm just going to live the way I want. No, you have to. God gave us the ability to think things through, and He gave us the brain to do it. But we've been speaking that very same thing, and at the same time, also on the other side, speaking against people, shaming people. This thing of shaming people on all sides, to me, is just. I mean, it's sinful to me personally to shame someone on either side of it. And I think our life is the testimony. The Word tells us our lives are the living epistles that men look at and read.
That's exactly right. The bottom line is that we have lost our way in terms of being able to understand what God intends for us as human beings and as as relationships with other people, and it's a simple deal. We're just to love one another, and that doesn't mean that we love them the way that we would love our children or the way that we would love our wife, but it means that we've got to always try to put their interest ahead of our interest in terms of how we deal with them. And when you try to put people down, I always say that you do that because you're trying to build yourself up, and that's the wrong way to do it. I think you're right. Being shameful to people and trying to create the kind of controversy we've had is just not a positive thing.
Visiting with J.T. Curtis of John Curtis Christian School, 260-1061. Mentors have a chance to be even more important now and stand taller by being able to not only teach but to listen and learn and discern. And it's so important because here you are in a school and in a ministry that's quite diverse, especially with your athletic programs. You're dealing with young men and women from all different backgrounds, and you've got to find common ground. Well, the common ground is obviously Jesus. That goes without saying.
Sure.
And all things point to that because that is love, and that's the goal, the model, and what we all must do. At the same time, how challenging is it to deal with people from so many backgrounds, especially now with the sensitivity that seems to really permeate our society?
Well, in a lot of ways, I really think being more sensitive to people's needs is an important thing, and we need to do that. We need to be careful as to how we talk to people and how we treat people because they have feelings and they're human beings too. And what I think what's the most important thing that we can do is that we've got to show them that we care about them. And that's the same thing that I say about players. I get the question all the time. Over the years, I bet things have really changed. They really hadn't. Now, some of the outside influences have changed, but kids want the same thing, and I believe so do adults. Number one, they want to know that you care about them. Number two, they want to know that you're going to work with them and you're going to provide the discipline that they need in order to grow as a player, as a person. And when you do that, I think they might not appreciate it at that moment, but they grow to appreciate it. And I think that's what our responsibility is as parents and as adults or as a teacher, as a coach, that we provide the care and the love that they know that we care enough for them to discipline them. And if we do that, I think we got a really good chance to be successful in the future. And that's what this is all about. What I do every day is not about me. It's about where those guys are going to be 20 years from now and the kind of society and the kind of country that we are going to live in.
Yeah, it's a different kind of country right now, but people know when you love them, when you're talking to them, even when you're saying the hard thing.
Oh, there's no doubt. And here's the thing. They really know the truth. Now, I'm not telling you they don't want to accept it. I'm not telling you they're jumping up and down saying thank you so much. But really, way down deep inside, they know. And I think that's a spiritual thing that God has built into every individual. You can call it conscious if you want to. I just think it's the way God made us in terms of our souls and the way that He ministers to us as human beings. And so our responsibility, again, I think it's important to be sensitive. I think it's important to be fair. But I don't think you should back off from what is right and the teaching that you believe is right.
The old philosopher Chesterton once wrote, they'll accept any other kind of philosophy as long as it's not Christianity. And here we are living in a world right now that has a lot of problems, and yet they don't want to put the God part in it. And that's the core that can answer a lot of these things. In fact, all of these things.
I don't know how anybody that can look at history over the course of the last 20, 25 years and see the decline in a lot of areas of our lives. And I don't think that has anything to do with race, creed, or color. I think it has to do with a spiritual issue that we have voided the teaching of the Old Testament and the commandments that God gave us there. And I think we've lost our view about there's two simple ones. Just honor God by the manner you're living and treat your neighbor fairly. And you know what would happen? All these problems would go away if we just treated people fairly.
Yeah. Do justly, love mercy, walk humbly.
Yep.
Dr. Anthony Fauci saying today that the NFL and college football seasons could be in jeopardy because of the pandemic, and
here we go.
Players have to be in a bubble, and so insulated from the community, tested nearly every day, and he said it's hard to see how football is being played this fall. Look, we can have different opinions. We can agree or disagree, and I'm not going to sit here and cast aspersions at him at all. But like you, number one, I don't fear. Number two, I tend to look at the positive aspects and the possibilities on the bright side rather than on the negative side. And I just think that when statements like this are made, it really dampens the entire atmosphere and stops people from having any sense of recovery. And I know this thing is serious, and I take it seriously. And yet this, to me, when I heard this earlier today, was humbling. It was disconcerting. And I think there's going to be football. What say you, Coach?
Well, let me address that two ways. Number one, I think that we need to be patient and wait on the Lord. Okay, let's just be patient and see how this thing's going to play out. We got a long way to go, and I'm going to give you an example. We made a decision as a school back in late April that we told our seniors, listen, we're going to be very patient with this. We're not going to cancel graduation. We're going to wait and see what happens. And if there's a way that we can have our graduation, we're going to have it. We're going to have it somewhere, sometime. But our goal is to have it in May, in the late May if we have to. And you know what? That's exactly what happened. And I think what I learned and what I hope that I was able to portray to others is that sometimes you just need to be patient, just be quiet, and let's see what happens. And, if we're not going to have college ball or not going to have high school football, that can be decided in August, middle of August if it has to. I was at a baseball game in the middle of March, and I walk out, and they say, school's not going to happen tomorrow. Well, we didn't have a 2-month warning of that. They just said school wasn't going to be happening on Monday. So I just think people put the cart before the horse, and everybody has an opinion, and I agree with this too. The doom and gloom attitude dampens the spirit, and I think it hurts healing. And we want to keep people in a positive frame of mind, and especially those that are susceptible to this, or that have, look, I had one of my coaches whose brothers passed away from this. I know how difficult it can be, but by the same token, I've known people that have recovered and they're living their life and they're moving forward. I think that's what we need to focus on.
Well, he is, of course, the brilliant coach of the John Curtis Christian Patriots. He's a headmaster. He's a pastor who makes a difference in people's lives. We deeply appreciate what J.T. Curtis does. And we also, Michael and I also appreciate the fact that you've supported our faith-based show here for several years now. And it makes it possible, Coach. We appreciate that, too.
We do, man.
Well, here's the deal. If everybody does a little bit, we got a chance to do a big bit. Right. But everybody's got to do their part. Everybody's good. Not everybody can be the pastor of a mega church. Not everybody can be the Billy Graham of the world. But what we can do is what we can do. And that's the way we've tried to approach it at our school and with the ministries that we support, and to try to help people understand that God loves them, and that through that relationship, no telling what can happen in your life. Just hang on.
And by the way, as we let you get away, Denny Duron says hello. He's texting me back and forth.
Oh, that's great. We'll tell Denny.
Hi, Tony.
I said hello, man.
You do know he's you do know he's coaching now, right?
No, I didn't know he was. Well, I knew he was crazy, but now he's confirmed it. He's confirmed it.
So now we got two pastors serving as head coaches in different parts of the state. Why? All good. JT, thank you so much. God bless you, and God bless you and your family here.
Thank you. We enjoyed it, and y'all keep doing the good work.
Love you, pal.
We will.